Hello, sir. Uh, am I audible? All right, great.
Hi, Kanish.
Hello, sir.
I'm so sorry. I had to take my daughter to a diagnostic center. So in that
Okay.
rush, I forgot about this. I'm so sorry. I
It's
kept my
it's completely
and
fine, sir. It's
only after
completely
Chandra
fine.
called me,
Yeah.
Professor Chandrasekhar. Then he
Right,
called me.
right.
Suddenly, I realized. I'm so sorry once again.
That's okay, sir. That's okay. It's we're glad you're here, and we completely understand. So I'll start the meeting. I'll let the other participants in if you're good to go.
Can we start?
So you're muted.
Please go ahead.
All right. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dalit Fest 2021. I'm Anmol Ratan. I am a third-year law student at National Law School of India, University, Bangalore. I'm also the convener of Savitri Phule MBT Caravan this year. On behalf of the entire committee, let me just welcome everybody. Of course, our speaker for today, Mr. Praveen. Mr. Praveen, thank you for joining us. I know it's a very hectic schedule that you have, but thank you for doing this for us on such short notice. So thank you, and everybody who is watching here on Zoom and everybody who's there on YouTube, welcome. This is our second panel, which constitutes and is an ingredient for our Dalit Fest. Before I dive right into the panel and give the mic to Kanish, who will be moderating and interviewing Mr. Praveen, I'll just give you a brief about Mr. Praveen. Mr. Praveen is an IPS officer currently posted in Telangana. He's from the 1995 batch. He's known for his revolutionary work, not just as a civil servant, but of course as a social worker, working in the field of social justice, Dalit rights movement, and so on and so forth. He's also known for his work in the Swaros movement that has arisen and has garnered a lot of appreciation across globe. He has a master's degree of public administration from the Harvard University. And these are some of the accolades that we could really give you a brief about. The list goes on and on. So thank you so much, Mr. Praveen, for doing this. And I'll also take a moment to introduce Mr. Our moderator for tonight. For today, we have Kanish Singh. He was the SBA president here at NLSIU. He'll be taking you and guiding you throughout the interview that we have planned for today's evening. So I'll just pass on the mic without a further ado to Kanish. Kanish, take it over. Thank you.
Thank you, Anmol, for that. Thank you so much, sir. We're honored to have you here with us and you gracing us with your presence. So, sir, without any further ado, I believe we should start the interview. um, so, to begin with, sir, could you please tell us about the Swero movement and any how it started, any life experiences or childhood experiences that motivated you to take it forward?
At the very outset, Kanish, once again, I profusely apologize for missing the correct time. So because of some unforeseen circumstances, but only after Chandrasekhar called me, suddenly I realized no, this is there. So I'm so sorry once again. So Kanishk and Anmol and everybody, I am really honored to be here and then to be the speaker today, or to be the guest today to speak about my journey, and then also the spurt of Swero movement as an alternate identity. So of course, ideas and then ideologies are the products of the circumstances in which people grow. Then people are, brought up. So my everybody's childhood, my childhood, has not been very smooth, and then has been a bumpy ride, and then particularly once you cross the adolescence, then you start understanding the world, and then you leave you leave your village, and then you go to urban areas in search of education, and then you come back again to your village to talk to your parents, to meet the parents in the vacations, so on and so forth. But uh, I was, as I grew in my age, I was not very comfortable with the symbols that I started watching from my childhood, and childhood till the time I was in the village. of course there was a lot of discomfort, but we thought it is normal. But as you come to urban areas, you meet a lot of people, you meet a lot of intellectuals, you meet people who give you a lot of revolutionary ideas, but not necessarily the violent ideas, but revolutionary ideas are the critical thinkers you come across. And then you start diving deeper into your identity question, and then whether am I supposed to do what I have been doing for so many years. So am I supposed to tolerate what my neighbors and then my people, who are next to me are doing, or people who are my classmates in the same school are doing today? So these are some of the uncomfortable things you start rediscovering, and that happens with everybody who starts studying in universities, who start studying in liberal, particularly liberal universities, or the urban universities. That's why people are really worried about universities, because they give you a lot of freedom in thinking, even if it is the most conservative university. Also, universities give you a lot of the freedom to think, and then freedom to act. So that's how I realized that what has been happening to the people who are next to me in my village is not right, is not human at all. So as I've told in many occasions, so I am from scheduled caste community, and then my mother was a child laborer. And, my mother, although she was educated, she was also put to a lot of discrimination, not direct discrimination, but indirect discrimination. Like, for example, to give you a kind of, anecdotal evidence. So, whenever we used to go to a nearby well to fetch water in summers, in summer vacations. So my mother always used to go to the well only either in the early hours or in the late evenings. The reason is very simple. The dominant sections of the village, they used to come to water in the in the daytime, and then the marginalized communities are not supposed to be competing for the same water resources at that time, because that was their right. So that was a kind of, we used to fetch waters in the earthen pots in those days, and it happens in many places even today. So these are the things that shape your identity. So that shape your identity, this shape your thinking. So, but I must salute my mother for, and the teachers who shaped her destiny. So these are the people who rescued her from that kind of toxic environment, and then they have put her in a government school, and then later a boarding. She stayed in a boarding school. Then she went on to become a teacher after a teacher training, and then she came back, and then till her even today she's alive, and then she's 79. But even today, she fights that kind of discrimination on the basis of caste and gender in her own way. So these are the things that I started realizing it's not good. And then right from day one, I always discouraged such practices in the ecosystems in which I have worked. So you asked a very interesting question, Kanishka, that what Swero movement is all about. So Swero
Right, sir.
movement, as Anmol was saying, Swero movement is very popular, but it is also very controversial.
Right, sir.
So it has become very controversial in the recent times, maybe because we brought out the we brought in the historic facts back to the surface of this country, after almost 75 years from now. So Swero movement is primarily, it revolves around the redefining identity. We deeply believe that if you know your identity right, and then if you have a right sense of identity, if you know your position in the history, and then if you know what you are capable of, I think you will definitely feel proud about your identity. And then if your identity is not good, if your labels are not good, if your stereotypes that are imposed upon you are not very pleasant and then very encouraging, I think you will rediscover that identity. Swero movement helps you to do that exactly. In other words, we just to put it in a simpler term, so we strongly discourage the words called Dalit in our schools, pitch day, then backward, because by birth nobody is backward. People are made to feel backward. I repeat, feel in quotes, bold, italic, and underline. So these are these feelings, these stereotypes Swero identity is a kind of an alternate, Swero identity is an indirect or direct challenge to those identities. You must redefine your own identities, but not the accept the identities that are imposed upon you. So Dalit, what do you mean by Dalit? Dalit is broken. Do you, like, when you without knowing anything, even though you are a brighter student, even though you are studying, you speak English, you speak Tamil, you speak Telugu, you speak Hindi, but without any mistakes, and then you do greater things in your life, and then you do a lot of good things in your life, still you are made to feel that you are Dalit, and then that Dalit identity is attached to subjugation, attached to oppression, attached to discrimination, attached to prostration, and attached to many other things which are not desirable for any human being in any free society. So we thought we should we should discover, we should give a new identity. SW stands for, as on today, SW stands for state welfare. Aero is synonymous with flight, air, and sky. So the idea behind this is, we whatever we do, our thinking must be highly aspirational, our acts must be highly aspirational. We should not again and again refer back to the traumatic history, which will create a survival mode in your mind, which will create a toxic ecosystem in your own mind, and then that will not do any good to you. So we wanted this generation to get connected to a brighter future, or if there is no future, discover your own future. But don't seek the solutions again and again in your past is only a reference point, but definitely not the point where you seek the solutions for your current troubles is something, in essence. So if you ask me the abstract identity of abstract meaning of Sweros, I would say it brings the best out of every human being, no matter which caste, which religion, which geographical area you belong to. It tries to bring the best out of your being. So is Swero identity. And then Swero identity, as on today, our guiding principles are 10 commandments. Basically they appeal to the individual. So I am not inferior to anyone. I shall be the leader wherever I am. I shall do what I love and be different. I shall always think big and aim high. I shall be honest, hardworking, and punctual. I shall never blame others for my failures. I shall repay what I borrow. Then I shall neither beg nor cheat. I shall never fear the unknown, and I shall never give up. As on today, these are the 10 commandments that govern the life of a person who understands Sweroism. Is something which it's a very long answer to a very short question they've asked. So, yeah.
No, so that's really interesting, because that's exactly what I wanted to ask you. Because from what I've read, the Sphero movement is about consciousness as well as reclaiming those experiences and
Yes.
transforming those experiences, which is what I want to, like, ask you, like, about the movement. So, sir, as Anmol said, like, and as we all know, you've been in the services and you've been a decorated officer in and civil servant. So, sir, how has being a civil servant shaped your attitude towards social welfare and social justice, like, along with your personal life? And have there been any challenges or like upsides to it? Maybe if you could.
As a civil servant, I never faced any challenge, in dispensing the social justice aspect of, because I was very clear in my mind. I did not have a wavering, mind. So I didn't have to hide anything. So this made me free from the day one. So that's what I say. If you are clear about your intentions, if you are okay, or if you are proud of your identities, and if you make your identities and your leanings known to the world, I think no amount of challenge is a challenge. So that's what Frederick Nietzsche says. If you know why of your life, you can almost bear anyhow in your life. So I right from day one, thanks to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and his teachings, thanks to Savitri Bai Pule, thanks to Jyotirao Pule, thanks to doyens like Kanshiram. So in our student lives, we were told about these great people and the sacrifices they have made to liberate these communities from slave mentality, or the kind of slavery that has been imposed upon them. So I didn't have to work very hard on convincing others that I what is there in my mind. So that is something which made me very which made me very free when I acted upon this thing. So I, like any other civil servant, I worked very hard, and then I followed the same conduct rules. I upheld the values of the same constitution which governs 1.3 billion Indians. So I didn't have any problem at all. And then I didn't have too many transfers, because I knew my ultimate purpose. Ultimate purpose is to reach out to the unreached, give the voice to the voiceless, and work hard, and then do not indulge in any distractions. Do not be trapped by any distractions, like be corruption, be it yeah, dominance, or misogyny, all those things. I did not I didn't have time at all, first, to be very honest. I didn't have time to do all these things, because this is a great opportunity Baba Saheb has given me. So why should I squander this opportunity? So it's a miracle here. I come from such a locality, or such a geographical part of this geographical part of our own village, and so it's a kind of a dream come true for me. And then I didn't want to waste even a single minute in trying to achieve the dreams which our founding fathers have left for this country. So I didn't have many challenges. And then I came to social justice sector or social welfare sector, not because I was denied good, comfortable, cushy postings in the policing department. No, I came here out of volition. It was my voluntary decision. It was my choice. Yeah, I came here by choice, not by chance, or I have not been shunted from the police department. I requested, I had to go with the then DG, and then the chief minister to put me in welfare department, because I thought I can do much better. So then what I have been able to do in police department. So that's why I came here, and then I didn't have any problem. Of course, being a policeman, it gives you a lot of advantages. Of course, initially there were a lot of apprehensions, there were a lot of misconceptions about my presence in welfare department, because by nature the society has painted policemen as a demon. So which is not true at all. So a policeman also does his duty in a free society. Unfortunately, a free society, citizens, by statute, you give power to policemen, so that the policemen protect the society. But when the same policeman does the same order, law and order thing, people do not like policemen, because you are curtailing somebody's freedom. So you're all from law university, better than what I am saying. So I'm not going to go to that philosophical aspect, but I came to social justice and empowerment out of volition. So right from day one, this is my ninth year. So I had any problem, because my intention is very clear, and then my goals are very clear. Give the voice to voiceless, connect them to a better world. Take them from the orbit of poverty to orbit of prosperity. Give them that quantum leap, so that they do what all others have been doing in this country. Yeah.
That's great to hear, sir. That in fact, that's what a lot of us in our university, like a lot of people come from not very advantaged backgrounds, and they have similar outlooks. So hearing this must be inspiring for like all of us.
No,
Uh,
Kanishka, I wanted to say one thing,
sure,
brother. See, it's like this. I repeat it again, even at the cost of even boring you all. We must be clear about our identity. So
right.
that way you hide your identity. I'm very happy that you have Savitribai Phule Ambedkar Center SPAC, if you call it a SPAC. So in our days, I saw many people who were not willing to identify with these icons. Whether you are this way or that way, be clear. Don't be ambivalent. Don't be under confusion, and don't be innocent. Like, if you hide your identity, you will be. I would say, if you hide your identity, you will be under perpetual fear of being discovered. So that is much more dangerous. So be comfortable with your identity, but at the same time, don't be judgmental about others' identities, others' way of life. So you argue, you argue, then you do this, you do that, you discuss, debate, do whatever. But at some point, we must start talking. We cannot be closing our doors and windows for any free communication. Is something which I wanted to say. But yeah, yeah.
Right. So thank you for that input. In fact, like that's what SPAC was founded for, if I may interject. Like that's the reason why we came out, just to provide people a space to express their
Yeah,
identity and be comfortable with it.
yeah.
So that's a takeaway that we all appreciate. Sir, so moving on to another question, which is related to, in fact, like what you were saying and what we were discussing previously with the Sphero movement. So you've established a specific methodology of uplifting marginalized communities through the movement itself and through your actions. So how would you say, like, what exactly could be done to give them direction, give uh, the marginalized classes direction, and make them change their uplift them in a certain way, and especially what role does society, like both in terms of like Dal Bahujan Adivasi communities, or the society at large, especially the youth, what can we do to bring that
Mhm.
forward?
Get back to the roots.
Right.
Simple one sentence: get back to the roots. Your roots are, I don't know whether you guys have read Alex Haley's The Roots. Get back to the roots. So I think there is no point in waiting for a messiah. There is no point in waiting for a prophet. I think you have to be your own prophet. The more and more you depend on others for the solutions, you are wasting a valuable time in your life, which will just melt away. So, my request to all these young generations, I don't consider as a old, but so I'm in the afternoon of my life as on today. So, what I request and then what I realized is there's no point in waiting for someone to liberate you. Third point is I don't want these marginalized communities. When I say marginalized, it includes women. So to perpetually depend on some authority figure, including government, to liberate them, to design a scheme, or to design a scheme of land distribution, to design a scheme of scholarship, to design a scheme of giving this, giving that. That's okay. It's because we voted some party into the government, into power. That is their responsibility. Agreed. Yes, as in a democracy, it is a constitutional function. According to the Indian constitution, you have directive principles of state policy, and then as a citizen you have fundamental rights. But I would go beyond that. I would go beyond constitution. It is your moral responsibility to stay together, to help each other, and then to discover a new future for yourself. That is what all the communities which liberated themselves from the yoke of slavery have discovered. It is they themselves have discovered, not some external agency. Very rarely some external agency will go and then put some ideas into their mind, but ideas are innate. All this young generation has to do is to get back to the roots, tell them the truth, and share your story, and make it as a collective narrative, and then collect all the resources and then help each other, make it as a movement. Don't make them as a perpetual dependents looking for somebody to dole out. No, no, no. Strict no, no. This is not how marginalized will be. No, this is 76th, 70, 75th year of independence, or 74th or 75th year of independence. No, see, when I go out for walk, I see people, ladies, particular ladies of 60 years, 70 years, wearing radium jackets and cleaning the streets with their backs broken perpetually, bent perpetually. So I feel, I ask them, which community you belong to. I shouldn't be asking that, but out of curiosity, and I knew the answer, but I always ask that question. So then they say I belong to the, I belong to scheduled caste. So then I also belong to, as an IPS officer, I also belong to scheduled caste. How long? For 74 years. The same community has on one end you have an IPS officer, on the other hand you have a sweeper. So how do I feel comfortable about this fact? This is what troubles me, Kanishka. So how do I feel comfortable? Like the lady from my own community is still sweeping the streets and eking out the livelihood by doing that drudgery, which she shouldn't. She should be enjoying her life with her grandchildren, and then so she should be enjoying her life with the grandchildren and then all that. But today, my mother, see, my mother asked the same question. In 2010, my mother asked me the same question. What did she ask me? Should I feel proud that my son is an IPS officer? Or should I feel ashamed that in spite of my son being an IPS officer, his neighbors, his sisters, his the extended family is still working as agricultural laborers, then the victims of slavery, and so on and so forth. This is what troubles me. So I could have gone to the collector of the particular district. I could have gone to the SP of district and then, look, please solve my problems. This is a village. This is only one fourth of the solution, Kanishka or Anmol. The point here is I thought, no, this is not the way. We must pay back. This is my responsibility. My salary is 2.5 lakh rupees. So can't I pay 10% of my salary or 5% of my salary for the benefit of these kids? Can't I create a library? Can't I fund 2 to 3 kids education? Or can't I bring 10 people like me and then make the children to go to great universities? That's where the idea of Sweros also has come in. So the payback, you have to pay back no matter, I have an option today. Even today, I have an option. Switch off everything. Whatever money you have earned, buy a small acre of land and then build a farmhouse. Buy 2 Labrador dogs, or buy two Great Dane dogs or exotic breeds of dogs, and then buy 2 diamonds and then diamond-studded rings, and then go for vacation every summer to European countries, or so on and so forth. Our service can give that comfort to you. But will that solve my community's problem? Will that solve that sweeper's problem? Will that solve that agricultural laborer's problem? I don't think it will. So that is one of the things that makes me very uncomfortable. And that's the reason why this young generation must have community service as an integral part of their life. So if you ask me, these communities must make all the elders and the religious leaders of these communities must conscript and must mandate that 2 years of community service or 1 year of community service is mandatory for all the youth born in this country, not just marginalized communities. Everybody in this country must do 1 year of community service. Then probably things will change. I don't know. I don't know whether I have answered your question or not, but this is what must happen. Excessive dependence on government, this will again the ruling classes, maybe 1% or 5%, they will keep on saying the same narrative, and then you will keep on hearing the same narrative. And only it will be seen as if you are making progress, but it will be marginal. And then after 50 years also, suddenly if you look back in the same Zoom call, we will be discussing the same thing. So even in 2090 or 2091, you'll be talking about the same thing, which is not at all, advisable. There is sense of urgency. Yeah.
Right, sir. So, in fact, like what you touched upon, that the notion of community service, and especially in the form of education, like
Yes.
building libraries and things. So we like again we tried doing that, and one of our alumni, like one of the people who founded our caravan, so to speak, um, he, in a very small village in Manipur, he started a library for like the children basically, and we tried going ahead with the project, and we donated books and so on and so forth. And
Very nice.
we feel like, taking it forward, as you said, like is one of the core things that we can
It should be a
do.
movement. Kanishka, it
Right.
is It should not be sporadic events. It should be a huge movement. And then until intellectuals like you guys, you should lead such movements. You don't have to lose your livelihood for that, but it should be a very powerful movement. Then only India will change faster. Yeah.
Right, sir. Right, so I believe like you also touched upon my last question. I was about to ask you about education and the role, since we actually read about the Swero movement a lot, quite a few time back, from what I remember, and we saw that you'd made headway in terms of education institutions for the marginalized, and fund and like providing funds to children especially. So again, since you touched upon that, if you would like to add anything else on that front. um,
I think the government is the greatest NGO if you have a right person at a right place. So no NGO, how much ever funding it has, it cannot match the strength and the reach of government. It's just not possible. So, but all you need to do is put a right person at the right place. I thank government of Telangana for allowing me to continue in this position, and then today I'm able to give the help of government. Of course, I'm able to give the best possible education with the given resources to almost 2 lakh children. 2 lakh children English medium, and then we have a law college, and then we have armed forces preparatory college, and then we have lots of specialized institutions, and then we have about 25,000 young women who have postponed their marriage, and then they've added 11th commandment over cart of commandment, that is, I shall not marry till I become independent, is the 11th commandment. Those the girls have added to that. So so we have the best possible institutions, and then we have a decent funding from the government, and then I only wish that every state in this country replicates this model, because see, the Kanishka, uh, in this country this model works well for the marginalized, because marginalized do not have conducive environment in their homes to see that, to make their children competitive. Today you take IIT joint entrance examination. Today you take national eligibility and entrance examination, which clears people for admission into medical colleges. Today you take CLAT, common law admission test, or you take GMAT, you take any examination. Can you say with all the confidence that the guy who is born in a rural area can crack it without any coaching? It's not possible. It's not possible. Even for urban area kids also, even for bureaucrats kids where the English is a medium of instruction, or the English is a common language that is spoken in their households, still for them also it is very difficult, because these tests have been made to filter people who are not eligible, or people they are designed to take the people who fit into those the cliches and stereotypes. But what happens to poor people? When will they come to national law university, unless they are extraordinarily talented and then rescued at a very young age? You take the trajectory of the all the poorest of the poor kids in your university, and then go to their lives. Somewhere they must have been rescued from the cycle of poverty, and then somebody must have told them this is not the way, and then there is something else that you can do. So I am a big champion, and then I bat for a residential education system, particularly the vulnerable sections of the society in this country, whose number itself is about 300 millions. I think if you can spend all your budgets, at least 50% of your budgets on these residential schools, I can challenge Kanishka within 10 to 15 years. I think 10% of Indian population will not ask for any support. They will grow on their own, because what can beat a better and education? So the qualitative education. So this is one important thing which has to happen in this country, and then all the government of India and state governments are doing, but it has to happen as a big project, and then a lot of people will get benefited. So residential education is very important. So and it gives the much needed escape velocity for the poor people to get into a prosperous orbit. And then when some of you become run for office, and then you become successful politicians in your lives, my request is take education department as your portfolio, negotiate with your chief ministers or prime ministers, and then set up as many institutions like this as possible for the poorest of the poor people. So thank you. Yeah.
right, sir. Right, so that's very inspiring, sir. Thank you. um, so I think we've mostly covered everything that we want to speak, like we want to
Yeah.
ask you. Like given that this is the occasion of, like tomorrow is the occasion of Ambedkar Jayanti, would you like to add some like something about the role that Dr. Ambedkar had to play in your life and in the lives of all of us?
Uh, it's phenomenal. It's beyond a description. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's contribution is just phenomenal. I must salute that man. So every day morning when I start my day, I salute this great, son of India. Not because he wrote Indian Constitution, just Indian Constitution, because he became the voice. He became a very powerful, uncompromising voice, uncompromising in quotes, uncompromising voice, despite the threat to his life, despite excommunication, despite blackmailing, despite suppression. So, despite the lack of any humane treatment, so he envisioned what is right for the marginalized. Even today, astonishingly, his thoughts come back to our narratives again and again, our conversations again and again. Some or other way, he comes in, tells like this is what I told 75 years ago or 50, 60, 80, 90 years ago. That's what makes Ambedkar very special to me. But with a rider, today in this country, sadly, I see a lot of andhbhakts of Ambedkar. So, which is not good. The blind following, a fundamentalist interpretation of Dr. Ambedkar is not good for any community, not just for scheduled castes or scheduled tribes or OBCs, for any community. You need to redefine what Ambedkar is all about. Have the core of Ambedkar, but when you adapt it to different situations, you must have the ultimate values of the constitutional preamble, the justice, liberty. What is, if you ask me what is more important, I would say liberty of thought. But I rate liberty as more than equality, liberty of thought, liberty of action. So when your thoughts are chained, so I don't think you will not be able to. So today, what as tomorrow we are going to celebrate his birthday again. So my request is, let us not restrict him to statues. This is what is happening in this country. You have 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore statues of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. People call it as assertion. But why is that we have not been able to produce another Ambedkar in this country? Why is that the universities in this country has not been able to produce an intellectual like Dr. B.R. Ambedkar? In fact, we should be having thousands of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar like intellectuals. Why is that we are lacking? Where are we going wrong? Is it the fault of university? Is it the fault of families? Is it the fault of teachers? Or is it the fault of the system? I think we need to go back to that question again and again and again. We need people who discuss, read about Ambedkar. We need people who discuss the thoughts of Ambedkar. We need people who reorient the thinkings of Ambedkar. We need people who implement the spirit, the bring the spirit of Ambedkar into our everyday conversation. We don't have to restrict ourselves to Ambedkar. So let us go beyond Ambedkar. Let us talk about many other philosophers, and then again come back to Ambedkar, and then take Ambedkar to those philosophies, and then let us create a new ideology. There is nothing. Ambedkar never said that, like Lord Gautama Buddha, never, Ambedkar also never said that what I am saying today is going to be, true for next 100 years. Ambedkar never said that. So Ambedkar, that's one of the reasons why he, converted into Buddhism, because he said, Lord Gautam Buddha said, what I am saying need not be, is not true or need not be true. You discover. It is you who have to discover. And then if you do not agree with me, that's okay. So today we should not we should not fall into the trap of being fundamental, being only idol. We should not get into the idolatry, or we should not get into idolizing and then forget the ideas of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. That's what makes us very that's what make this movement very special. Tomorrow, let us commit ourselves to create thousands and thousands of Ambedkars in our campuses, in our conversations. So that is what it is. So thank you very much.
That's a great thought to like start Ambedkar Jayanti with, sir. Thank you so much for that. Sir, I think we've exceeded a little bit on your time as well. I'm so sorry for that. Uh, with uh, with this, we'll probably close the session, and we have Abhishek Kumar, who's one of the founders of SPAC here, and
If
he
you have
wants to
any, Kanishka, I have only one request, brother. If you have any
okay.
alternative ideas, if you want, if you have any challenging, if you want to challenge or if you want to refine the ideas that we are trying to follow, so I'll be very happy to receive them, and then you can write my mail. Anmol has I think my email ID is very simple. I have my WhatsApp number is always available, or my contact details are available with Professor Chandrasekhar. So you can always write to us, and you can always challenge what and you can always correct us. So as I said, I don't claim that what I'm doing today is right. As I started in the beginning, the man is a product of his circumstances, right? So and the circumstances are shaping us, and then probably the current scene in the country is much more crucial, and that we refine our thinking day in and day out. I will be very happy and very grateful to all of you if you can help us refine our thinking and refine our actions as well. Thank you.
Most definitely, sir. Thank you so much for that. Uh, so, Abhishek, I'd like to hand this over to you.
Um, Hello, sir. My name is Abhishek. Thank you so much for your time and your enriching thoughts. We have actually been. It's a sheer pleasure to have you here, sir. And your sheer willpower to, let's say, as you said, that to give voice to the voiceless is something that is going to guide us further. And B.R. Ambedkar said that the cultivation of mind should be the ultimate aim of human existence, and this is what you are doing today, sir. And this is which will also push us to do better in our lives. Thank you so much for being with us, sir. It's been really great to hear you. We would definitely want you to come meet us someday on campus as well, if that is something which is possible in future. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. I wish you all the very best, and then happy Ambedkar birthday.
Happy Ambedkar Jayanti, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sorry once again.
It's
It's
totally fine.
completely fine, sir.